Hello and welcome to your practice on stretching and strengthening the back. So we're talking about upper, middle, and lower back. We're going to start in tabletop. So coming to your hands and knees. Just checking in with yourself if you'd like to pad those knees by rolling the mat over or taking a folded up towel underneath them. And maybe those wrists are feeling a little tender. In that case, there's always that option to come into fists. Just checking that those wrists are underneath the shoulders and the hips and over top of the knees. Let's do 3 rounds of cat and cow to start to wake up the spine, dropping that belly towards the floor as you gaze forward for cow. Exhale, rounding the spine, taking that gaze towards the navel for cat. 2 more at your own breath pace, connecting those inhales with cow and those exhales with cat. Last time. Allowing that spine to come back to neutral. So we're going to start to wake up the upper back. So on your next inhale, reach those right fingertips up overhead. And then on the exhale, sweep that arm underneath you, but just reaching towards the left wall. Inhale back up. Exhale, sweep that arm underneath you. Let's do that once more. Inhale up. Exhale underneath you. And then return that hand back to the mat. Do the other side. On the next inhale, reach the left fingertips up. Exhale, sweep that arm underneath you towards the right. Inhale back up. Exhale underneath. Once more, just like that. And then allowing yourself to come back with that left hand to the mat. From here, walk those hands a little bit forward so you can start to lower onto the belly. And be shifting yourself backwards as needed. And keeping those hands underneath the shoulders, untuck those toes, extending through the legs. Gently connecting the pubic bone with the mat here to lengthen through the spine. And keep those elbows in towards the side body. With the forehead to the mat, think about pressing or pulling the crown of the head towards the front of the room. So we're thinking about length from toe to head here. And let's take an inhale as we draw those shoulders up, back, and down, starting to feel this engagement between the shoulder blades. And we're going to use that and strengthen the upper back and improve the muscles of posture. So with your next inhale, draw those shoulder blades towards each other, peel the chest and forehead off the mat, baby cobra. Keep that gaze towards the floor, and with your next exhale, chest and forehead, lower back down. Now, even though the hands are connecting with the mat, we really want to make sure we're using the muscles of the upper back. So with your next inhale, you could keep the hands to the mat, or if you'd like, lift the hands an inch or two as you lift the chest and forehead. So really checking in that you're using the muscles of the upper back here. And exhale, lower everything back down. Let's do 3 more at your own breath pace. Inhaling up. Exhaling to lower. 2 more. Last time. As the forehead and hands connect back to the mat, press into your hands and knees, come up and back and into child's pose. So knees stay towards each other, sinking those hips towards the heels, forehead coming to the mat, or if that's feeling a little far away, maybe you're going to stack your fists, or if you have a yoga block handy, bringing that under the forehead to lift the floor up to meet you. Let's take 3 deep breaths here, breathing into that to lower, mid, and upper back here, since the front body is a bit restricted by the belly against the thighs here. It gives us that opportunity to tune into the back body. With your next inhale, peeling yourself back into tabletop. Now you can choose to keep the right knee to the mat, or maybe you're going to start to extend that leg, bringing the ball of the foot to the floor. Even though we're thinking about the back, we can bring a nice little stretch into our right calf here. And we're going to start to extend that left arm out from the shoulder. So out to the side here, as if it's a little airplane wing on one side. Taking 3 nice deep breaths here. Again, you can choose to keep that right knee to the mat if that feels more comfortable. And start to draw that left arm up by the left ear. So reaching towards the front of the room here. 3 more deep breaths. Nice engagement of the core here as we strengthen the back. So keep that navel towards spine. Take another inhale to reach a little bit more towards the front of the room, and then return that left hand and maybe that right knee back to the mat. Take a moment as you reorient yourself, and then when you're ready, we're going to set up for the other side. So that left knee again might stay to the mat, or you might choose to extend that leg behind you, pressing through that back heel as the ball of the foot stays to the floor. Beginning to extend that right arm out from the shoulder here to the side. Half airplane wing on this side. 2 more deep breaths. And then starting to draw that arm up by the right ear, pressing through those fingers towards the front of the room. 3 deep breaths here. You got this. Take another inhale to lengthen. And on that exhale, bring that hand back to the mat. Maybe returning that left knee to the floor. Let's do 3 more rounds of cat and cow. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. 2 more at your own pace. And gently allowing that spine to come back to neutral. And once again, we're going to come onto the belly. So walking those hands slightly forwards, shifting yourself onto the belly. And extending those arms by the sides of the body. So palms connecting with the mat here. And keep length through your arms here. So those shoulders away from the ears. And with those toes untucked, starting to point through those right toes, beginning to lengthen the right leg and lift it up behind you. So however feels comfortable here. We're going to take 3 deep breaths here. So now we're starting to strengthen the lower back. Keep pointing through those toes. Take another inhale, and with your exhale in control, slowly lowering that right leg back to the mat. Relaxing that leg, beginning to point through the left toes, and with your next inhale, extending that left leg up behind you, making sure that you're keeping that hip joint to the floor, so that left hip to the mat. Pressing through those left toes. 2 more deep breaths. Take another inhale, and with your next exhale, slowly lowering that leg back to the mat. Let's do that once more on either side. So with your next inhale, point through those right toes, keep the right hip connected to the mat, lifting that leg up behind you. 3 deep breaths here. Take another inhale, and with your exhale, slowly lower that leg back to the mat. Switching sides. Next inhale, point through those left toes, lift the leg up, keeping that left hip to the mat. 3 deep breaths here. Take a nice inhale, and with that exhale, lower the leg back to the mat. Take those hands underneath the forehead, making a little pillow for your forehead. Relaxing through the legs. And begin to bend at the knees so that the soles of the feet are coming towards the ceiling. And just gently sway those legs from side to side. Releasing through the lower back here. Take some nice deep breaths as you relax. And slowly letting that swaying movement come back to center and stillness, extending those legs long back behind you. And once again, taking those arms back on either side of the body. Now we're going to come into, we just did half locust pose, but we're going to come into full locust pose now in different variations. So on your next inhale, lift the legs, lift the arms, and lift the chest and forehead. So everything's pressing towards the back of the room here through those toes, those fingertips, shoulders away from the ears. Keep that gaze towards the mat, head in line with the spine. Take another full breath here. Take another inhale, maybe lift a little higher if that's comfortable. And on the exhale, slowly lower everything back to the mat. Take a nice deep breath in and out here. Now the next variation is a different position with the arms. You could choose to keep them by the sides of the body as we just did. Or maybe you're going to extend the arms on either side of the body out from the shoulders like a T. Or you could imagine like those airplane wings, full airplane wings this time, a full set. And with your next inhale, lift the legs, arms, chest, and forehead. Keep breathing. Take another full breath, you got this. And then with your next exhale, slowly lowering everything back to the mat. Take those hands underneath the forehead, take another breath here, completely relaxing the body. And then from here, take those hands underneath the shoulders, pressing yourself up and back into your tabletop. We're going to do 3 rounds of cat and cow, inhaling forward, exhaling back. And allowing that spine to come back to neutral. And we're going to sink the hips to the heels, but stay upright here. If this is not comfortable to sit, then I invite you to come to a cross-legged position. But once again, you're going to focus on the upper back a little bit. Reach those arms out nice and wide from the shoulders, and then start to take that right arm across the body, reaching towards that side wall, but drawing that shoulder in the opposite direction. Just taking a nice deep breath in and out here. And then with your next inhale, reach those arms nice back and wide. Take the left arm across the body. One more deep breath. And with your next inhale, reach those arms nice and wide. Now you can choose to do what we just did again if the following is not accessible for your body. So we're going to come into thread the needle, which is a wonderful thing for the back. And this is going to be coming from tabletop here. Take an inhale, reach those right fingertips up like we did previously. And then as you exhale and sweep that arm underneath you, come onto the right shoulder and the right side of the face. So once again, if this is not accessible, coming into the seated version, you get similar benefits. The body's in a different position to gravity. If you are on the mat, you can keep that left hand underneath the left shoulder, or you can walk those fingertips towards the front of the room. Or you can even journey that left hand across the lower back, looking for that right hip crease. Lots of different options here. Checking in what feels best for your body today. Let's take 2 more deep breaths wherever you are. Taking that left hand back underneath the shoulder. If it's not there, press it into it to slowly unwind yourself. Reach those right fingertips once more up overhead, and then return that hand back to the mat. Let's set up for the other side. So on your next inhale, reach those left fingertips up overhead. Exhale, sweep that arm underneath you, settling onto the left side of the face, the left shoulder. Maybe keeping that right hand underneath the right shoulder or journeying those fingertips towards the front of the room. Or maybe taking that version of sliding the forearm across the lower back, looking for that left hip crease. 3 nice deep breaths wherever you're landing, including if you're switching sides of the seated version. If you're in the mat version, gently finding that right hand back underneath the right shoulder, pressing into it to slowly unwind. Reach those left fingertips up overhead, and then bring that hand back to the mat. From here, sink those hips towards the heels, coming into child's pose once again. And just take 3 nice deep breaths here as you tune into that back body, noticing how it's feeling compared to when you started. And then when you're ready, moving on with your day. Namaste.